Hello, my beautiful souls. I'm coming to you tonight just to share an experience that I had. And for those of you who know me and know my story, I've just had a major shift in confirmation, understanding over the past 2 years, and we'll say since the day I first met him. My soul was stimulated, was brought into attention. The veil was slowly being lifted. My religious beliefs had my mind thinking one way, and I was closed to thinking any other way because my religion was the right one. Their religion was the wrong one. I was going to heaven. They were going to hell. And I judged a lot. And one day I sat at church and I heard my pastor preaching against lesbians, against this abomination and blasphemy against God, at the right for same-sex marriage. And then I heard her preaching about Muslims and Islams and trying to take over the world. And as I sat there, there was such a conviction in my heart, and that voice inside of me was saying, this doesn't line up with the God I know. Then I began to just search on my own, and when I met my twin soul, something changed, something really shifted inside. And during the time of the separation, I began to search deep within, going through this rejection and this abandonment and depression and all of those emotions that we've all gone through during this journey. I began to just meditate and want oneness with God. I wanted to understand what was going on inside of me. What was this? What was this energy? What was this change? I've always had dreams and visions and was told that I walked in the office of a prophet. But I always believed that prophets were crazy. So I never operated in my gift. But when I was alone, when my church judged me because of things I was posting on Facebook, my church family said I was removing my name out of the book of life and I would go to hell. And I remember sitting crying and telling God, if I'm going to hell, then I'm going to bring more people back from hell, because I have so much love in my heart for everybody that I feel that this is what you want. And our God is love. He loves us no matter what we do. And so it was their judgment that took me into more of a capsule. I began to read and research, and then I converted. And I am not fully in the practice of, but I do lean more towards Hinduism. In my dreams, how I've been led. And Lord Ganesh, the elephant god, is my guide. And he's been with me from day one. My first guru gave me the statue that you're looking at. And I compare myself to the lotus, because as you know, the lotus comes out of the swamp. And there's so much goop and mud and sludge and slime in the swamp. But that lotus still comes through it. It still presses through all of that. Everything is against this beautiful flower, but it reaches the surface. And when it reaches the surface, it blossoms. And you see 1,000 petals. And I'm exaggerating, there's not really 1,000, but you see all these petals open up and there's not a drop of mud on them. And they open up just like we open up spiritually, one bloom, one flower, one leaf at a time, just as the lotus opens up. That's how my spiritual journey has been. That's how my life has been. So when I began to meditate and have visions not too long ago, apart from the visions where I believe Twin Soul's higher self has been guiding me, telling me to stay put, not to move, but I seen my death. When I seen my death, it helped me to understand one of the struggles that I've had in this life. And in my vision, I see this beautiful girl standing on a cliff, and she's young, and she falls backwards to her death. And I see her lifeless body on the side, and I see a man covering his face but crying over her body. Another vision I had was in a hospital, and the doctor came up to me. He put his hand behind my head and he pulled me in for a kiss. I remember his long hair and feeling his hair on my face as I put my hand in his hair as well. We were in a hospital where I believe I was a nurse and we worked together. I seen hospital beds, kind of like cots like you see in Pearl Harbor. So last month I did past life regression hypnosis, and during my session a lot of what I seen came up. There was also from previous life, but my main interest was Twin Soul and why has he activated so much in me in this birth. And so that's where we were hypnotized. That's what came up. But I want you all to understand that one of my greatest struggles and one of the greatest tests that I've had through this life has been suicidal thoughts. And understanding how much I loved this man and that he loved me so much. A married man in India, an arranged marriage. He was not happy. He left his wife and his children to work long hours. And that's where we would be together and we were intimate. During hypnotherapy, it came up the reason why I committed suicide was because I was with child. And I didn't want to disgrace my father, my family, and I didn't want to hurt him. So I took my own life very young. And now in this life, I've seen my struggle. I've seen my karma. None of my relationships have worked. All the men that I pick cheat on me. Or they're married. I've stopped picking, of course, but I understand that here in my previous birth, I was in a relationship with a married man. And in this life, I got my medicine back. In my previous life, because it was so hard of what I was being faced with, being a single mother at that time in India, I took my life. I couldn't handle, I couldn't face it, I couldn't bear what everyone was going to say or think. So in this life, I've seen that what people think about me matters. I'm easily hurt by words and judgment. And when things get so hard or so dark, those thoughts come up. And being raised with my religion, I was always told by my pastor that this was the devil. He wanted to take me out. He wanted me dead because God had such a huge plan for my life. And maybe part of that was true, or that was something that I needed to pacify me through the years. Then I had my children and found strength in my children, and then my grandchildren, and here now, my twin soul. Also, with a lot of the visions, I've seen a little girl, and spirits told me that her name is to be Maya. And that is why I've named my company Maya Star, because this little girl keeps coming to me. I see her in the arms of my twin soul, in the present life. I see her rolling around his suitcase. I see her in his arms. He's holding her above his head, and she's laughing and loving her father so much. What I don't know is if this same little girl is the girl that I was carrying when I took my life in India in the previous birth. But time will tell. But I would like to encourage a lot of you, if you can, go and get a past life regression, or maybe even a past life reading. I've had readings that have said about us sharing past life as well. And I know with my soulmate, we also have a past life. And right now with this twin flame journey, I'm at the mercy of God, you know. I want His will to be done in my life. And if it is for reunification with my twin soul, then so be it. But if it isn't, then it is with whomever God has chosen for me in this life. Because for me right now, the most important thing is to share my story, to share my testimony, and to help others. Because there's so many hurting people out there. There's so many broken hearts. And if God has a call on my life and He's anointed me to speak and to help heal and encourage each and every woman and man out there that's going through a hard time, then so be it. Because Isaiah 61, for God has anointed me to preach the good news, to bind up the broken heart, and to set the captives free. And if that's what I have to do in this life, then that's what I will do, with or without my twin soul. Because this is a journey. It's a journey where our soul is purging, and a lot of us are going into that purification fire, and it's not fun. But we're going to come out better. We're going to come out shining bright. You know, this pain can't take us down. Our soul will overcome. Our soul will live on. So I just want to encourage all of you, and I guess my music has stopped. But I want to encourage each and every one of you that if you can, that you may want to do this so that you know how to release a lot of those karmic imprints that are in your soul, so that you can be stronger and understand why we're going through a lot of the stuff that we're going through in this life. And I thank you for listening and taking the time to hear my story. To be continued. I love you.